Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. Today I have Jeanette Lowry, and she is a coach, a transformational coach that talks about residual wealth and well-being. So Jeanette, I'm just going to pass the baton to you and let you introduce yourself.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on the show, Charisse. This is our second time trying to meet, so it's all good, right? With
Right.
6 kids, you have an excuse.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Jeanette Lowry, and I have been in the wellness arena for most of my life. I'm 62. I'll be 63 in 10 days.
Wow. You don't even look like it.
Oh boy. I grew up as a gymnast, and so health was always part of my, DNA. And training in the gym as long as I did through college, I really got in touch with good nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, went into teaching fitness classes and weight wellness classes to women that were older than myself. At that time, I was in my 30s. And I did that for another, 15, 16 years. And was introduced to a line of skincare products that was only through a network marketing company. And that was back in 1990. Didn't have a clue what any of it was, but I started using the products, and one thing led to another, and was able to create a residual income stream that kept me afloat for 20 years. Wow. After my divorce. Yeah, so being in retirement, I got the bug again and knew that I needed a new company that was more nutrition based, because that was my gem. And a girlfriend called me, as they always do. Girlfriends call girlfriends when there's something good to share, right? But she had called me for 5 years and said, "Are you ready to get back to work yet?" I kept saying, "No, I'm not ready." But the 5th year I was, and it's just been a thrill. My whole passion started when COVID hit. Mm-hmm. And I looked at these moms, saw some neighbor moms, talked to sisters' moms, friends, who were just in complete, just upset over what they saw their kids learning on the Zoom classrooms, the curriculum. And so that really sparked in me, because it was like, why am I not out there sharing this beautiful thing called entrepreneurship with these women to get them home? So that's really what drives me today, is really to help either women who raise kids and now they're in the workforce without much of a retirement, those young moms that just started a family and they have to work because their lifestyle is such that they demand 2 incomes. So I can show them a pathway to get a virtual entrepreneurship started immediately.
So let's dive into this, because that's really what my passion is about this podcast. Is my goal is that women who feel like I was in that corporate world where I worked 70, 80 hours a week, and I was going through a divorce. And so I'd get all my kids up in the morning, divvy them to the different people that would watch them, because they all had different schedules. Yep. And then my 3-year-old would come, I'd drop him off at preschool, and then the other ones would have to, it was craziness and
crazy, insanity, stress.
Yeah. And I'd come home, I'd feed him dinner, I'd put him to bed. Luckily, my sister was living with me at the time, and I'd go back to work a half an hour away until 5 a.m, right?
Oh, my goodness.
Horrible. And so for me, realizing when I left that rat race, I remarried, it made it possible. But then I got into real estate and was actually making more than my husband was, and so it is amazing to believe that your entrepreneurship can actually not change from a side hustle to an actual, my husband, he was able to quit his job for a year till he decided real estate wasn't his thing, but because we were doing so well. And so talk to me about why a side hustle with leverage can turn into a legacy of wealth.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was married. My first marriage was to a professional football player. We met in college. I was a gymnast. He was football. So we went to Detroit for 7 years, where he played pro ball. And I just knew from a young age that there's no way I could punch a time clock and work on somebody else's demand schedule and they telling me what I'm worth. And that
Right.
was just not part of my DNA. My dad was an entrepreneur, so I saw leveraged residual income through his insurance company that he built.
Mhm.
So that just stuck in my craw for, 10, 20 years until I got into a place where we got home from Michigan. And when my girlfriend called me, I had no clue about network marketing and leverage. Through building a team of consumers and business builders, you harness that buying power.
Mhm.
And so if 10 of my girlfriends put 10 hours a week of work into their own business for their own goals and dreams based on the company that you've, aligned with, it can be very substantial.
Yeah.
And my husband quit his job too. He was selling medical equipment at the time because my income doubled his. And
Mhm.
he came home and thought that he could help me with the business. And thank you, Lord Jesus, I got it in the divorce. If I gave up alimony and child support, no, not child support, but alimony and his pension. And I said, yes, thank goodness.
Mhm.
So it's just a matter of I always say that you have to have 5 things in place to find the right company because
Mhm.
there's a ton of side hustles out there that have zero leverage. There's a ton of side hustles that are going to be gone in 2 to 3 years.
Mhm.
There's very few legacy companies that are over 10 years. I will not even look at a company under 10 years. I've
Right.
been in the industry for 34 years and I've seen companies come and go. I've investigated 50 compensation plans,
Yeah.
so it's not like I'm not schooled on this and I
Mhm.
know what to look for. So a company with integrity, products have to be emotional, consumable, and reorderable, without having to beg somebody to place an order. They
Mhm.
get results, they feel results, they see results. They're going to be a lifer on those particular. There's 2 products I will not live without based on my transformation. So the products have to be science-based and results oriented. Company, 10 years, legacy, and total. It's all about being authentic
Mhm.
and integrous for me.
So you mentioned those 2 products. What are those 2 products? There.
Well, because I was a gymnast, inflammation,
Right.
joint pain,
Mhm.
rotator cuffs. I blew my knee out my senior year in college, and it was a posterior cruciate shred. So
Gives
it, 2 years of rehab, let's just put it that way, and cast and the whole bit. But my leg it never straightened past about
Oh my gosh.
about 87%. It was never, my knees are hyperextended anyway, but
Mhm.
it never got past that, not even to 90 degrees. And so I walked with a little bit of a limp. I had to wear elevates in one shoe, and it strained my back crazy,
Mhm.
which I had to have back surgery about 7 years ago because of it. But what happened is when this collagen came out, it's a marine-based collagen. It's 99.9% effective because they bottle it within a millisecond. So you get the pure collagen. It's not like the powdered stuff that's dehydrated and doesn't do anything.
Mhm.
So I drank these 2 bottles. They're like an ounce, ounce and a half, twice a day for the first 2 days. It's supposed to be 30 days just to get your body reset, collagen where it's supposed to go. And normally you think, I mean, the back of my hands for sure, I noticed them within a day. It was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I don't have my grandmother's hands anymore. Oh my God, so
Yeah.
excited about that. But the second thing was within the third day, my knee started cracking. I was sitting on the floor stretching, and all of a sudden it's crack, crack, crack. All this scar tissue buildup
Oh my
was
gosh.
resolving itself. Honest to goodness, I made a video of it because I was in tears, and I can't go a day. One bottle a day does it for me now. It's not even 2, but I will never go off this product because of my knee. I've had to wear braces for 15, 18 years teaching fitness and working out. I don't wear a knee brace anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm training for this marathon, right?
Oh, good for
I'm
you.
50. And so I had a surgery that I was on bed rest for 6 weeks. Now, if you go through my story, which I'm not going to go through right now,
What kind of surgery?
it was a hysterectomy. And then there's another procedure in addition to that that I don't share. But
Mhm.
So it's interesting because like I've had two broken bones, I've had like multiple miscarriages, I've had multiple like three hip surgeries, three shoulder
Oh
surgeries.
my gosh.
Like this is all in a period of 10 years, right? And then
Oh
two
my
babies
gosh.
in addition to that. So my body has just gone through chaos. And there's actually six surgeries. No,
Stress hormones.
eight, right? And so
Yeah.
I'm losing my hair, like all these issues. So I run my, it's called from couch. I call it from bed to marathon. So I trained for a month and then I did the 5K. I trained for another month and I did the 10K. So that was on Saturday.
Wow.
Well, I have been like, I feel like I have stress fractures in my legs, but I didn't want to do anything about it
No.
because I'm not going to stop running. Well,
Oh, that's craziness.
I blew my time out of the water. I was super happy about it. And Monday I tried to run. I couldn't. My husband had to take me to urgent care.
Oh
So
my
I
gosh.
think that I've stress fractured my legs,
Oh
my
my
shins.
gosh.
So we'll find out next week. But my point in telling you this is, can that collagen, can that do something to help strengthen your bones, strengthen your body? You know, what does the collagen do?
Well, the collagen is more for the hydration of the
Okay.
joints.
Okay.
Oh, joint, absolutely.
Okay.
Joint
Yeah.
pain, joint tightness. But the biggest thing I'm telling you, Charisse, is
Mm-hmm.
do you know about intermittent fasting and deep cellular cleansing?
Not.
Toxic bodies
Yeah.
versus non-toxic bodies. Okay. Women, especially, we go through the hormone changes,
Right.
and women say, I feel like I'm getting fatter, but I don't eat anything,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
The gut area, especially.
Mm-hmm.
It's because we as women do not take in enough protein
Right.
that is usable in our body.
Right.
There's, if you get pure protein with the peptides and the whole thing, you're going to get the nutrient value of the clean protein. So eggs have been one of my sources of protein, but when I started, because I've been doing shakes my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
vitamins my whole life, crappy shakes that I had to gag down. But
Right.
when I started taking the isogenic shake,
Mm-hmm.
which are delicious, but the protein didn't change my workout at all. Same workout, just added one, maybe two shakes a day. I got my muscle back.
Good job.
I know.
They're gorgeous.
My muscle came back. And I don't say that to brag or boast. I just say that because when you put good nutrition in your body, it
Mhm.
responds.
Yeah.
And I shrunk 3 inches around my waist,
Wow.
I lost 2 pounds. I've always been about the same weight my
Mhm.
whole life. But the inches coming off because of the bloat, getting
Right.
rid of toxins. If you can get rid of toxins with this elixir, it's a cleanse elixir,
Mhm.
you can actually disrupt the belly fat, the visceral fat around the gut,
Mhm.
because the gut fat is holding on to those toxins from the
Right.
air we breathe, water we drink,
Mhm.
food. I mean, if you look at the ingredients on boxes and cans of food, which you
Right.
should be eating, you'd be horrified to know what you're eating.
You know, it's interesting because two things that when I grew up, like everyone was skinny. Like they all had this tiny skinny
Mhm,
waist. It was
mhm.
just normal. And then I remember I was running a college and I remember
Sugar.
looking at the kids that, and I call them kids, but they were, 15, 20 years younger than
Mhm,
me. And they all had these, like, I call them muffin top, right? And I'm
mhm.
like, what the heck? Why do all of our kids have that now? And
The
then
sugar industry took over the
exactly.
food
Yeah, and
40,
and
50
it's all
years ago.
preservatives. And I think
Preservatives and sugar. And, you know, shame on the food industry for doing this to us, And they kept the pyramid out there, which was
right.
totally, should have been inverted, but they kept the pyramid out there forever. It's like, do you not think like
Yeah.
technology, internet, we can look stuff up now,
We don't
government.
even hear about the food pyramid anymore. I
No, heavens no. But
know.
when the sugar industry took over food, salt and sugar, but mostly sugar, when you understand sugar, it acts in our brain area like cocaine, the
Yeah,
drug
it does.
cocaine.
Hmm.
It's the same pathways.
Yeah.
And when you go off sugar, you detox like you're detoxing from a drug.
Hmm.
Serious.
I know because I'm highly addicted to sugar. 'Cause,
Okay.
it's and I actually since I've been running, I've noticed I can't. Like so I've lost weight since I've gone off of it, and there
Yeah, getting off of sugar is going to help your pain
right.
and and your bones
Yeah.
too. Because I mean, sugar is like, oh, it just attacks everything. It
Right.
just festers, and that it keeps your body toxic.
Yeah.
And toxicity is where disease grows and cancer grows. It cannot grow, disease or cancer can't grow in a body that's alkaline.
Right. No,
And
that's true.
so keeping the body alkaline 24/7 is really important. So I'm just like an evangelist when it comes to detoxing and stuff, because I've seen what it's done.
I know. I
My
know.
sister was addicted to sugar,
Mm-hmm.
and the first time she took a drink of the shake, she projectile vomited
Mm-hmm.
across the room because it was such a clean nutrition for her. It was birthday cake shake. It was the sweetest one we have. And she was so toxic. It took just
Mm.
teeny spoonfuls of the shake over a week's time. Then she got to a half a cup. And
Wow.
now she's a 1 or 2 a day, but
So I've never had a drink of alcohol in my life, right? So that's just like I've raised my kids like that. And then my son, he was a senior in high school, and so I have special needs boys, and he had some issues. And so when he was taken to the hospital, they did a blood test, and they're like, well, he does have some alcohol in his blood. And I'm like, what the? And
yeah,
I went straight to him. I'm like, have you drank? Have you, like, I don't care. Just tell us so
yeah,
we can
yeah.
help you. He's like, Mom, I have never had a drink in my life. And what we realized with his body,
Mm.
it's a rare thing, but you can turn it into,
Ferment.
do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah. And so it becomes almost like, because they said that it was just a trace amount of alcohol. And had he
Yeah,
had something, that day, it would have been higher than that. And
yeah.
so his body actually converts the sugar into basically alcohol.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so, yeah, he said he can't even have sugar anymore. It makes him sick.
That's exactly right. And especially when you get older,
Yeah.
guys going through puberty or women
Right.
going through hormone changes, it's just crucial that, we get a grip on our health. I mean, if anybody's relying on the government to take care of them, I'm sorry, but uh, you can't even get into the waiting room for emergencies anymore, and it's going to get worse.
Well, and
So,
yeah, go ahead, finish your thought.
no, that's all.
And I was having this conversation with my mother-in-law because she's 86. And, to get into a doctor's office, like I have an issue where it's hard for me to walk and I shouldn't be right now. And I have to wait a week and a half. And so we have to become more reliant on ourselves. So let's get back to what we were talking about.
Okay, okay.
Go ahead. And what were you going to
So,
say?
so in order to create residual income,
Yeah.
you have to have, first of all, I always say the women I work with have to have a why. You have to
Right.
have a strong why
Yeah.
as to why you're going to get friends and family ticked off at you for getting into a pyramid thing. I mean, I've heard it all, but you know what? When you've done your homework and the products are making your life better,
Mhm.
why would you want to stop? And why wouldn't you want to share with people you love? So I train women to first get the mindset out of the way, paradigm shifts, goal setting, vision casting, all that. Then the health aspect, doing the deep cleanse, 11-day, 30-day, their bodies transform and they feel like they swallowed a rainbow. Honestly, that's what one of my clients said. Feel like I swallowed a rainbow. I've never felt like this before.
Yeah.
It's because you can get rid of toxins and your body responds the way God intended it to. So when they get that, people start noticing. They
Mhm.
drop the weight, they have more energy, their skin looks different
Mhm.
because of good nutrition. And then they go and, share with friends. We have a system set up it's a business in a box, basically. It's duplication, simple, simple, simple. Here's what you do, send this link, follow up with me on the phone, so it's very systematic. And being around a lot of other leaders I worked with in the first company, we've really honed it in and fine-tuned it for new people, which is a beautiful thing because when I was in the industry, we didn't have internet
Yeah.
and we didn't have cell phones.
It's true.
We had to mail videos. Took
Mhm.
about 3 weeks to follow up with somebody, based on that.
Well, and I like that because like my ex-husband was very, very large. And I heard you give a title, which I won't share because you haven't, but the name of the company, I think I know who it is. And he actually went on it for a while.
Oh,
And he was well over, I mean, I think he lost like 40, 45 pounds, 50
mhm.
pounds, like within a couple months, right? But mentally, he doesn't see himself there because he's been there so long. So what I like is that you talked about, let's talk about mindset, let's talk about,
Oh, you have to.
and then the next one, because if you don't envision yourself where you want to be,
Yeah.
the problem, you know?
Well, and if you don't get rid of the chatter in the head,
Yeah,
the paradigms that we grow up around as kids,
right.
just kind of put onto us like a wet blanket from our parents' habits,
Right.
their beliefs, all that jazz. And until you can recognize that that's what's controlling your life
Mhm.
and you want a change,
Right.
you've got to then make the change here first.
It's
So
and the habits of the parents, how I've screwed my kids up right now. I'm kidding. You
I
know,
know they always blame the parents, but you
right.
know what? We all have to take responsibility,
Hmm.
personal responsibility. My dad's 83 and he still works out 3 days a week, runs,
Wow.
lifts weights. He is the epitome of health, and most of his peers have died.
Wow. But
Uh,
it's because he takes his health seriously, you
yeah,
know. I think
yep.
I always joke with my mother-in-law that she's healthier than me, which is true. She is. Because I used to be this clean and healthy freak, and then I
Then you
wasn't.
had kids.
Well, actually, I was really good with the first four, but my current husband, I tease him that there's sugar running through his veins, right?
Oh
And
gosh.
so, for real. And so the last two have been a little more difficult. Like the first four kids, they never tasted sugar for the first 2 years of their life. Never had
Wow.
soda, nothing.
Like my granddaughter.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yep.
an apple? Oh my gosh, so sweet.
Yeah.
Fruit
Yep.
the first time anyway.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
My daughter's even more anal than I am,
Right.
which is really
That's
interesting.
great though, especially in
Yeah,
this day and age.
yeah, for sure.
So if you were talking to your 18-year-old, I ask everybody this, if you're
Huh?
talking to your 18-year-old self on a park bench and you're
Mhm.
looking over at her, what advice would you give her?
I would say start doing personal growth or personal mindset, personal awareness
Hmm.
type training sooner than later.
Yeah.
Sooner than later, because in today's day and age, when we were growing up, everybody expected to either work 40 hours a week
Yeah.
and get a watch
Hmm.
or become an entrepreneur, self-employed.
Hmm.
But today there's so many choices and people have to have 2 to 3 income streams to even, cut checks at the end of the month to pay bills. So I would tell myself to be open-minded about looking into ways to create multiple income streams
Hmm.
and get your self-awareness up sooner than later.
Well, and I think that Russell Brunson's been a big mentor of
I
mine.
love him. Yeah.
He talks about the linchpin model. So if you're familiar, and the linchpin model basically means that, like, I'm a realtor. So as soon as I sell that house, sure, I get paid,
Unemployed.
but I don't get paid again until I sell another house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the linchpin model is basically you have a membership where, as you talked about, it's recurring income, where
Mm-hmm.
if you have people, certain customers that are constantly buying something every single month, that's income that's coming in. They're a
Yep.
constant customer. And that is a business. My company isn't, but that
Right.
is.
It's like you work, you get paid.
Yeah.
It's like um Robert Kiyosaki wrote the
Right.
book Rich Dad Poor Dad and Business of the 21st Century, and his model is his cash flow quadrant
Right.
shows on the left side of the quadrant, that's where employees and self-employed work. That is exchanging time for money.
Right.
The only way to get to the wealth side, which is the right side, is to create leverage. So
Right.
you either have to have money to leverage yourself, buying multiple real estate,
Hmm.
flipping them, renting them, or money in the bank,
Hmm.
whatever stock options you have, or whatever market
Right.
uh, things that you want to invest in. But you have to have money, skills, or you've got to have the know-how to flip houses and leverage that way. We can leverage through people.
Hmm.
Everybody has their own goals, but when you work in a 2-team system and one of the teams is a group build,
Hmm.
basically half your work is done because everybody has 10 friends. I mean, honestly, at least 2 friends.
Right.
And if I can show somebody how to, introduce 2 to 4 people, they basically can pay for their products every month, which is a huge win. For a lot of people, if they can pay for their products and have an extra $100 coming in, they're thrilled.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just about leveraging buying power through one portal and people's time and talents.
That's fantastic. So if somebody wanted to find you, how would they get a hold of you?
It's my website, JeanetteLowry.com, and there's some freebies on there, master classes, downloads. Actually, the one I was going to send you, which I'm just sending out to a bunch of gals. Girl, quit looking in the rear view mirror. And
I
it's a
love that.
16-page workbook, which really has a plethora of stuff for goal setting and really digging deep into your, value path, your mindset, where you want to go and what's stopping you. And I always welcome, folks getting on a call with me so that we can walk through some of the lingering doubts or questions. The company has a 30-day money back guarantee, so there's really no risk trying the product. And, what I've experienced anyway is nobody's returned the product so far, and it's almost a 90% reorder basket. So
Wow,
it's amazing.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, yeah. So I hope that gave some value to your listeners, and definitely would welcome them to go to my website, JeanetteLowry.com, and we can put it in the show notes or whatever, and they can go there and contact me or download some freebies and kind of check it out.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you. And I think that just remember that your health is very important, because if you can't, speaking from experience, if you can't get out of bed because of whatever ailment or surgery you're
Yes.
recovering from, that, your quality of life is there. And
Yeah.
what makes us happy, and what do we want out of life, and making sure that we have, a purpose and a vision and a goal to get there.
And money is not what drives me today. What drives me is the thrill and knowing that I'm leaving a legacy footprint in a family,
Right.
that they can, the trajectory of having overweight kids goes down, huge amounts, because when the parents can get clean, their kids get clean. No longer going to be driving through McDonald's.
Yeah.
They understand why they shouldn't do it. There's so much resources out there. But, this is what I'll leave you with is I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own.
Yeah.
As a realtor, 100% of your own effort equals money.
Yeah.
So if you can put your own effort in and find other like-minded people who want their dreams and goals or side hustle income, then you can build a dynamic team.
I'm going to ask you another question. I know we're supposed to end, but how has this changed your life? Not necessarily the company, but being able to have your own business with residual income. How has that changed your life?
I'm telling you, when my husband came to me, I found out about an affair with a neighbor. And we had just moved into our dream home that my first company built. And I was devastated. 16 years. And, I had a 9-year-old and a 2-year-old at the time.
Oh.
And all I could do was jump in the car after I broke every one of his CDs. Don't get me started. Oh, he never forgave me for that, but whatever. So I sat in a parking lot talking to my pastors for hours and just going, what am I going to do? And I hadn't really been, keeping up with the money that was coming in. It was over 10,000 a month, and not thinking clearly at that time. And I'm like, I'm going to have to go to work. Oh my gosh. I was panicking. And then 3 months settled into a new house. I was like, oh my gosh, my check hasn't gone down. I haven't worked in several months. And it just kept going and going and going. So I was able to be at home the entire time with my 2 kids through college. And it just broke my heart to see a lot of these moms that were just hustling back and forth. Like you said, you had to pack 6 kids up and take them here and take them there. And oh my gosh, it's heartbreaking. And that's why women have such a high stress level. The cortisol is just over the top. And we're the last people to take care of ourselves. I learned very early on in the divorce, self-care is crucial.
Yeah.
We have to take care of ourselves.
True.
Because we can't take care of anybody unless we're healthy. So you're going to spend your money on medical, drugs, and intervention, or you're going to spend it on good nutrition.
It's true. And I think, it's important to also reiterate that, like, I went on a program where I lost 20 pounds. I looked great, right? But it was completely soy-based. And now I'm so adverse to soy, I get sick now because it made me that way. In addition to that, when I went off of it, I gained more weight than
And see what happens with most diets, they don't have good protein balance. They don't have, 40, 30, 30 thing. And this is more of a lifestyle. So it's easy to adapt to. It's not hard. It's like you just pick up, instead of one meal, you do this shake. Instead of, you do fork and plate meals at lunch or dinner, but it's just keeping the sugar low. You got to be intentional about eating clean, raw food. But it's you don't crave the crap anymore. And so when you go off this, like, it's a lifestyle for me. I don't go off Isogenics, which is the name of the company.
I caught that. So
I figured you did if your husband had that success. But you're right. It's a combination. It's lifestyle, behavior modification, and finding products that actually science-backed, they work. So.
And that is the advice that, for the listeners, that be very picky and choosy. Don't just go with something or someone that a friend of a friend, like, really do your research and find your happiness. Like, if you're not happy in your life right now with what you're doing, then it's not what you're supposed to be doing. And so find your happiness.
Absolutely. If it's not fun, you're in the wrong business. Yeah. I love talking with you, Charisse. This is fun. We'll get in touch off camera. But yeah, I think I have a few things I want to talk to you about regarding your legs. Okay.
Well, thank you, all Unbreakable Mompreneurs. You have a great day. And again, find your passion. Talk to you later. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.